Kevin wants to know, not me. He's confused about relay pools. You gave your picks in the podcast, but some of the athletes in the top 8 of the 400 seem to think they've guaranteed to be in the 4x4 or mixed pool. That can't be true if runners are added from the 1, 2, 400 hurdles or 800. Do you know what date the U.S. must declare the 6 names? What if Lyles does not qualify in the 200? I don't think he can be in the pool then. Yeah, so as per my understanding, you take 6 4x1 or 6 people in the 100, and you're going to take between 6 and 8 in the well, they took 7 though in 2019 for some reason, and I don't know if it was because of an injury. Now they all go; they're in the pool. Now whether or not they want to be used or not is up to the coach, right? So you could get picked and you could go and you could be ready, but that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to run a leg on the relay. And someone like Lyles, if he doesn't make it in the 200, the odds of him getting added are very small.
Yeah, the 200 runners, the 400 hurdle runners, the 800 runners, they don't count towards the pool. They just get to be called in off the bench if they want to. So Ry Benjamin isn't technically in the 400 relay pool. He's just on the team, and then the coach says, hey, there's this guy running the 400 hurdles who can probably split 43 for us. You want to add him? Yeah, let's do that. He doesn't count towards the pool.
Think of it as like you have a roster number that you're allowed to hit. So none of those people count against the roster number total, right? There's a certain amount of people that can be on Team USA. So then you're adding depth in your 100 and your 400. Okay. Real quick, George, he says, gentlemen, we must change the stupid selection system and be able to select 2 out of the 3 entries from the trials and allow the third selection to be by committee, like any other normal country, not to disenfranchise the third place finisher, but to provide flexibility for the multiple scenarios that can prevent the best runner, jumper, thrower in the world from not making the team on one given day. Example, hurdle falls, runner gets tripped, the runner gets sick, etc. It's time to change the insane selection system. That is George. Your thoughts, Gordon?
Okay, so I agree and disagree with that statement because I know the way the U.S. will react, the U.S. track world will react to anytime a Nike athlete is picked over a non-Nike athlete. Everyone will say, oh, collusion, all that stuff. And it's just going to bring so much anger of like, why are you picking this person? They're not in shape. Who cares what they did 2 years ago? So I think giving a committee a chance to pick is just going to open up too much politics. However, I do think we could explore like an auto system where if you are the world champion from the previous year, not from the previous Olympics, but from the exact previous year, you get the auto. And then they only pick 2. So all the 2019 world champions go. And if you're running in an event that has a 2019 world champion, then it's only top 2 qualify. I think that would be the only way to do a non-top 3 where it's like, because no one would argue picking Donovan Brazier as an auto. They're not going to be like, hey, that's not fair. He needs to earn it. It's like, well, he just won. He's the best man in the world. So
because he won 2 years ago.
Well, this is a weird situation where it's 2 years because of a pandemic, but I'm not planning on having a pandemic every Olympic cycle. So
even a year based on something he did a year ago. No, come on, listen.
The 2024 Olympics. I don't think it would be weird to let the 2023 world champion autoed on my team in the 2024 Olympic team. I don't think that's weird.
Well, what if they're hurt? What if they're not in shape? This is the essence of sports, is you have to bring it on the day. It's not what you did last month, last year. This is what makes sports special. Are there going to be upsets? Yeah, obviously. But look at, in totality, all the events here. Most of the time, the people that we expected to show up showed up. Dalila Muhammad got this question at the press conference, and she because they said, what about other countries that have a selection or add one on? She's like, well, the problem with that is, who do you select? Who gets that designation? That in itself is much more complicated and much more fraught with problems than the idea of everybody lines up and races and, hey, someone is going to get sick or have an injury. I mean, the famous example is 2016, women's high hurdles. Kenny Harrison gets 6th. She goes on to break the world record before the Olympics, and people were saying, add her to the team. They should change the procedure. Well, postscript, you know what happened to Team USA in Rio that year in the hurdles, Gordon?
Yeah, they went 1, 2, 3.
They swept. So if the goal is sending the best American team, you still do a pretty good job. Are there going to be random exceptions? Sure, but it's not worth throwing out the whole system for it. Look at what's going on in Kenya right now with Timothy Cheruiyot. Finishes fourth. Technically, he can be added, right? Because they have a 2+1 system. And as of right now, they have not added him to the team. Why? That's anybody's guess. People are going to speculate. Maybe we'll get the full story at some point. But that is just so complicated. And you're right. It's so fraught with like politics. This is not obviously perfect. No one system is going to be perfect, but it's by far the best because it leaves it up to the athletes.
I think you shunning my idea as like a stupid idea. I don't think it's that wild. There's no politics in saying if you are a world champion from the previous calendar year, you are worthy of an auto. I don't think that's weird.
Well, you get that for world championships. You get that for world championships. That's fine. That's fine. That exists in the sport. World Athletics.
Yeah, but though it's a fourth person. It's not an auto of the three. It's
if World Athletics and if World Athletics wants to do that, or if the IOC or whatever wants to do that, then they can do that. But you're gonna have all sorts of scenarios then where people are getting in and bumping somebody out who's not prepared to run. That's what I think is gonna happen. And listen, if you can't, you live by the system and you kind of die by the system, right? Because that's how you get on the team, and then you get bumped off the team that same way. That's just how it works, right? You can pull the upset too. You don't have to just be the one getting upset in these scenarios. And I don't think that, I mean, basing something off of what happened last year in sports is just, it can go directions that you don't anticipate, is basically what I'm saying. And the whole idea with sports is it's a new year, a new day, everybody starts fresh. Now, here's where I would agree with you. If you were like Gordon Mack, commissioner of track, and you're like, how do I make the regular season of track more interesting? And you figured out some convoluted system to where they earn their way in throughout the season, like kind of like a world ranking, but for the US trials. I don't think I would prefer that system, but I would listen to the argument, because you're basically saying, hey, we need to make it so it's not just about one meet. We need to make it so it's about the entire season, like that. But that would require huge wholesale structural changes within the sport of track and field that it would take a long time to figure out. But that would make more sense to me, of like, man, Donovan Brazier was basically, he's undefeated in the regular season, and because of that, he's going to go, and then we're going to add in 2 people from trials, right? Like that you could see, because it's that season. So you have full evidence and proof that he could make it.
What about this?
Oh, no.
What about this? How about this?
Might be time to end the pod.
What if you have 3 Olympic trials where you win the first Olympic trials, you're on the team. And then you have a second Olympic trials, and the winner of that race is on the team. And then you have a third Olympic trials, and the winner of that race is on the team. So you get 3 races. It's not about getting second. We don't celebrate second or third. We just only celebrate 3 winners. What about that? I guess the negative there would be there's no, like,
4 months.
Once you know you're not going to win, you quit, right? There's no glory in getting second. Like, everyone's just going to jog at the end because you're wasting a spot. But the way you could make it is you could say, hey, making a final, or like finishing top 6 if you finish like top 8 or 6 in the first Olympic trial. Okay, I got the idea. So you have 3 Olympic trials, right? Winner of each Olympic trials gets a spot on the team. So you have 3 people making the team. All right. The first Olympic trials, if you get top 6 or top 8, I'm not sure what the number is, then in the second Olympic trials, you don't have to run the first round. You get a bye or something like that. So there's incentive to still run well if you don't win, because you get a better advantage in the second Olympic trials. And then you do the same thing for the third Olympic trials. And it's just winner moves. That'd be fun. And you do it over, like, you do it over a, I don't know what the time frame, but that would make a regular season more impactful. Like, because then it's like, hey, it wasn't my day. It's okay. I have it. It's like it'll be like a 3-game series. It'd be
I
like a
just
7-game series, 5-game series.
Your sentence started with, all right, there's 3 Olympic trials. And that's where I was out. I got to say,
No, that's a great. No, and then you have 3 winners, and those 3 winners are your Olympic team. This is a great idea that I just came up with. And I think people in the chat, I'm not looking at the chat, but I think people in the chat are going to like it because you get 3 winners, and those 3 winners are the team.
Okay, well, someone said, what is he smoking? Another person said, what is this man on? Someone said, LOL, I like this. I think they're talking about you. We have some crying face emojis. I just think you can't just build the system around a couple upsets for 2 reasons. 1, upsets are what makes sports interesting. And 2, if you're saying we're going to send a weaker team, but in 90% of the events, you're sending the team that either you thought or, it helps sort out how complicated things are. So it's like a thing Mo and Ajay Wilson this year. Who would get women's 800? We haven't seen it yet. Who gets that bye, right? And then with this wide open race for third, we don't know, but the U.S. should want to send a team with people who are in shape right now and have gone through a similar process as the Olympics, trial by fire type scenario. But you can't, because Harrison doesn't make it or Brazier doesn't make it, you can't say the whole system is screwed up. Now, 5 Olympic trials. No, 5 Olympic trials, then maybe you could convince me. Minimum.
You're making a mockery of it. I'm telling you, 3 championship races where you got to win to qualify. And then it's an obvious thing. And say you're down to Brazier and you have this type of race in the first Olympic trials. You're like, oh, dang it. And then he's like, I'm not ready yet for that second one. All right, I'm going all in on the third one. And it's like this strategy thing. Dude, I'm telling you, people would like it. You get to watch the Olympic trials 3 times. It'll be fun. You'd be like, who's going to... And then like the build up to the third one, like the grand finale, there's so much more pressure on it.
Yeah. All right. I'll end with this comment. I'll end with this comment from Patrick, who says Gordon should just trust the process we have now.
Kicking me while I'm down, aren't you? I get it.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow night, right after the meet ends. Turn into the FloTrack Podcast YouTube channel. We will review everything from Thursday's action, look ahead to Friday as well. Very excited. Got 4 more days of Olympic trials. Thanks everybody so much for subscribing. Email the pod, FloTrackPodcast@gmail.com. Thanks to Colt. Thanks to Travis. Thanks to the inventor of the 7-part Olympic trials, Gordon Mack. We will see you on Thursday night.